The locksmith call seemed routine until Gus started analyzing the crime scene. Lock damage patterns, entry method evidence, item distribution. 19 years of police burglary unit background immediately raised suspicions. This isn't a legitimate break-in. Before we dive into this incredible story, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if this story moves you, make sure to subscribe because tomorrow I have something very special planned for you. Elite 24-hour locksmith service had been serving the greater Phoenix metropolitan area for over a decade, its fleet of mobile units responding to emergency calls that ranged from simple lockouts to complex security system failures. At 2:15 a.m. on a Thursday night, Augustus Thompson was responding to what appeared to be a routine residential break-in call in the upscale Scottsdale neighborhood of Desert Ridge. At 45, Gus had been operating his locksmith business for 5 years, ever since he'd moved to Arizona seeking a quieter life than his previous high-stress career had provided. The work offered the kind of problem-solving satisfaction he'd always enjoyed, combined with the independence of running his own business and the community service aspect of helping people during security emergencies. Gus approached every service call with systematic precision that most customers attributed to excellent technical training and professional dedication to quality workmanship. His diagnostic procedures were thorough, his security recommendations were comprehensive, and his ability to solve complex lock and security system problems had earned him a reputation as the most reliable locksmith in the region. The business served a diverse clientele: homeowners dealing with broken locks, business owners upgrading security systems, property managers handling tenant issues, and occasionally law enforcement agencies that needed specialized technical assistance for investigations. Gus had built relationships with insurance companies, security firms, and local police departments through consistent professional service. What customers didn't realize was that Gus's approach to locksmith work had been shaped by 19 years as a police detective specializing in burglary investigation and security systems analysis. His ability to read crime scenes, understand criminal entry methods, and recognize the difference between legitimate security failures and staged incidents, all skills developed during years of investigating property crimes that ranged from simple break-ins to sophisticated theft operations. His police background had involved analyzing thousands of burglary scenes, understanding how criminals defeated various security measures, testifying in court about evidence patterns, and working with insurance investigators to identify fraudulent claims that attempted to exploit property crime coverage. The call had come from Dr. Richard Brennan, a cardiologist who reported discovering that his home had been burglarized while he and his family were away for a long weekend visiting relatives in California. According to his initial report, thieves had somehow bypassed his expensive security system and stolen jewelry, electronics, and cash worth approximately $75,000. Gus arrived at the residence to find Dr. Brennan waiting anxiously outside his garage, explaining that he discovered the break-in upon returning home and immediately called both police and his insurance company before contacting a locksmith to assess his security system and recommend improvements to prevent future incidents. "I can't understand how they got past everything," Dr. Brennan said, leading Gus toward the house. "We have the best security system money can buy, high-end locks, motion sensors, the whole works. But somehow they defeated all of it without triggering any alarms." Gus began his standard security assessment, but within minutes his trained eye was cataloging details that activated investigative instincts he thought had been dormant for years. The scene didn't match patterns he'd observed during 19 years of investigating actual burglaries. The supposed entry point showed lock damage that was inconsistent with typical forced entry techniques. The scratches and tool marks suggested someone working from the inside rather than outside, and the damage patterns indicated deliberate staging rather than genuine criminal activity. More concerning was the condition of the home's interior. Valuable items had been selectively removed while easily portable expensive electronics remained untouched. The search patterns didn't match typical burglar behavior, and personal items were disturbed in ways that suggested someone familiar with the household rather than strangers conducting rapid theft operations. Gus's police training had taught him to recognize the subtle differences between genuine burglary scenes and insurance fraud attempts, and everything he was observing suggested sophisticated staging designed to support a fraudulent claim. "Dr. Brennan," Gus said carefully, "I need to examine your security system more thoroughly. Can you walk me through exactly what was taken and where you discovered the damage?" As the homeowner provided details, Gus conducted the kind of systematic crime scene analysis that had been routine during his detective career. The story Dr. Brennan was telling didn't align with the physical evidence, and the inconsistencies were becoming impossible to ignore. The security system had been disabled from inside the house using the master control panel, not bypassed through external tampering that would indicate criminal expertise. The timestamp records showed the system had been turned off using the homeowner's personal access code rather than being defeated through technical means. The missing items list was suspicious in multiple ways. Expensive jewelry was gone but easily fenced electronics remained, cash was taken from locations that strangers wouldn't typically search, and family heirlooms were missing while more valuable items in plain sight were ignored. Most significantly, the timeline didn't work. Brennan claimed the family had been away for 3 days, but the evidence suggested the burglary had occurred within hours of his return home, possibly after he'd already arrived back in town. Gus's 19 years of burglary investigation had exposed him to numerous insurance fraud cases, and Dr. Brennan's situation matched textbook patterns of staged theft designed to collect insurance money while claiming victim status. "This is interesting," Gus said, photographing the lock damage patterns with his phone. "The tool marks here suggest someone who knew exactly how to damage the lock without actually compromising the security, almost like they were creating evidence rather than breaking in." Dr. Brennan's reaction was immediate and telling. Nervous tension replaced concerned cooperation, suggesting that Gus's observations were hitting closer to truth than the homeowner was comfortable with. Gus realized he was facing a situation that required careful handling. As a civilian locksmith, he had no official authority to investigate suspected insurance fraud, but his police training had taught him the ethical and legal obligations that came with recognizing criminal activity. "Dr. Brennan," Gus said with the kind of calm authority that came from years of conducting criminal interviews, "I've been examining security systems and burglary scenes for over 20 years. What I'm seeing here doesn't match legitimate break-in patterns." The homeowner's response confirmed Gus's assessment. Instead of asking questions or expressing confusion, Dr. Brennan became defensive in ways that suggested he understood exactly what Gus was implying. His posture stiffened, his tone sharpened, and his eyes avoided direct contact, all subtle indicators Gus had learned to recognize during interrogations. "I need you to just fix the locks and upgrade the security," Dr. Brennan said quickly. "The police have already filed their report, the insurance adjuster is coming tomorrow, and I want everything secured before then." The speed of his response and his insistence on avoiding deeper discussion reinforced Gus's suspicions. Genuine victims usually asked about vulnerabilities, prevention, or how burglars had bypassed their systems. Dr. Brennan was trying to rush past the facts and control the conversation before it strayed into dangerous territory. Gus's police experience had taught him to recognize the behavioral patterns that accompanied attempted insurance fraud. Dr. Brennan was showing classic signs of someone who had staged a crime and was now trying to control the investigation narrative to support his fraudulent claim. "Sir, I'm legally obligated to report suspected insurance fraud to appropriate authorities," Gus explained. "What I'm documenting here suggests this wasn't a burglary, it was a staged scene designed to support a false insurance claim." The confrontation that followed confirmed Gus's analysis. Dr. Brennan alternated between denial, anger, and attempts to bribe Gus to alter his assessment. None of these responses matched how legitimate burglary victims typically reacted to security consultations. Instead, every word and gesture tightened the pattern Gus had already identified. This was not a victim seeking protection, but a perpetrator seeking validation for a crime disguised as misfortune. Gus left the residence without completing any locksmith work, but with comprehensive documentation of what appeared to be systematic insurance fraud involving a substantial false claim. His 19 years of police experience had taught him the proper protocols for reporting suspected criminal activity to appropriate authorities, and he knew that accuracy and speed were critical in cases like this. His first call was to the Phoenix Police Department's Fraud Investigation Unit, where his former colleagues immediately recognized both his credentials and the significance of his observations. Insurance fraud cases involving staged burglaries required careful investigation and often coordination with federal authorities who handled interstate insurance crime networks. Gus had been part of such joint task forces before, and he understood how one fraudulent claim could be connected to much larger schemes. Gus Thompson, former Detective Badge 4471, retired 2019, he identified himself to Detective Maria Rodriguez, who coordinated white-collar crime investigations. "I have a suspected insurance fraud case involving staged burglary, approximately $75,000 fraudulent claim." The response was immediate and interested. Gus's reputation as a thorough investigator and his current position as a locksmith provided him with unique credibility for recognizing both the technical and criminal aspects of the fraud attempt. Rodriguez asked pointed follow-up questions, confirming the seriousness of his documentation and arranging for investigators to review his report without delay. Within hours, Gus was briefing insurance investigators and federal agents about Dr. Brennan's apparent attempt to defraud his insurance company through systematic staging of a burglary that had never actually occurred. He laid out his photographs of lock mechanisms, descriptions of tampering that didn't match forced entry patterns, and behavioral notes taken during his interaction with Brennan. Your analysis of the lock damage patterns and security system evidence provides crucial technical expertise that most investigators wouldn't recognize, FBI agent Sarah Kim told Gus during their coordination meeting. Insurance fraud cases often depend on exactly this kind of specialized knowledge, and you've preserved evidence that strengthens the case significantly. The investigation soon revealed that Dr. Brennan had been facing severe financial problems related to medical malpractice lawsuits and gambling debts, making insurance fraud appear like a solution to his economic difficulties. What had seemed to him like a quick way out of debt was, in reality, a federal crime with consequences far greater than his immediate financial struggles. For Gus, the case reinforced a truth from his police years: even routine service calls could reveal hidden crimes, and vigilance could prevent fraud. Serving as expert witness, his knowledge of security systems and burglary patterns helped investigators understand both technical and criminal aspects. He spent hours reviewing footage, lock reports, and alarm logs, linking evidence to known burglary methods and spotting subtle signs of deliberate manipulation. The damage patterns you documented provide definitive proof that this was an inside job rather than an external break-in, Agent Kim explained to the prosecution team, her voice steady but carrying the weight of certainty. Combined with the security system evidence and timeline inconsistencies, we have a strong case for systematic fraud. She gestured to Gus's reports, emphasizing the detailed analysis that tied together seemingly minor anomalies into a clear pattern of deliberate staging. Working with investigators, Gus helped analyze Dr. Brennan's methodology and identify similar fraud attempts that might be connected to the same scheme. His expertise revealed that the cardiologist had researched burglary techniques and security system vulnerabilities in detail to create convincing but ultimately flawed staging. Gus traced each step of the staged incidents, from deliberate scratches and forced lock marks to temporarily disarmed sensors, showing the calculated measures used to make the burglaries appear credible. His technical evidence proved crucial in demonstrating that Dr. Brennan had damaged his own locks, disabled his security system from inside, and removed property to stage a burglary while maintaining plausible deniability. His reports included comparisons of normal wear versus staged damage, timelines matching security footage with the doctor's movements, and notes linking each action to the pattern of intentional fraud. This allowed the prosecution to present a coherent narrative showing premeditation and technical manipulation rather than random chance. Your recognition of the staging patterns probably prevented a successful $75,000 fraud, Detective Rodriguez told Gus during the case follow-up. Without someone who understood both locksmith work and criminal investigation, this might have been processed as a legitimate claim. Gus's work not only strengthened the current case but also provided law enforcement with a blueprint for identifying similar schemes in the future. The case ultimately resulted in Dr. Brennan's conviction on federal insurance fraud charges, restitution orders, and a prison sentence. The investigation also uncovered 2 additional staged burglaries Dr. Brennan had used to collect insurance money over the past year, revealing a broader pattern of calculated deception and highlighting the importance of technical expertise in exposing the truth. Gus's involvement had transformed the case, turning circumstantial evidence into a clear account of intentional fraud. Returning to his locksmith business, Gus gained a new appreciation for how his police background continued to protect the community in unexpected ways. The case showed that insurance fraud affected everyone and that detecting it required specialized knowledge. His success led to consultation requests from insurance companies, law enforcement, and other locksmiths, as his unique combination of technical skills and investigative experience proved invaluable for analyzing suspicious break-in patterns. People think locksmith work is just about opening locks and installing security systems, Gus explained to a professional security conference. But we're also often the first experts who can recognize when lock damage and security failures don't match legitimate criminal activity. His business became an informal resource for insurance fraud detection and security crime analysis, serving both routine locksmith needs and the occasional investigation that required specialized expertise in criminal methodology. 6 months after the Dr. Brennan case, Gus had consulted on 4 additional suspected insurance fraud cases, helped train other locksmiths in recognizing staged security failures, and had become a regional expert in identifying the difference between genuine burglary and deliberate fraud. His phone buzzed with a call from Agent Kim, suspected insurance fraud ring in Tucson. Multiple staged burglaries with similar technical patterns to your Phoenix case. Available for consultation on security analysis. Gus looked at his schedule, then at the community he served through both Locksmith Services and fraud prevention. "I'll review the case files and drive down tomorrow," he replied. Some careers never really end, they just find new applications and new ways to serve justice. Augustus Thompson, former police detective, current guardian of security integrity and insurance fraud prevention, continued his work one lock at a time, one exposed fraud at a time, proving that the most important criminal investigations often begin when someone knows how to read the evidence that criminals leave behind when they try to deceive investigators and insurance companies. Sometimes the most crucial fraud detection happens during routine service calls, by people who understand both how security systems work and how criminals try to defeat them for illegal profit. Have you ever noticed something during professional work that didn't seem right or legitimate? Share your experiences in the comments below, and tell us what city you're watching from today. If this story of hidden investigative expertise and fraud prevention inspired you, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Don't miss the compelling stories appearing on your screen right now. Click to discover more tales of everyday heroes who use their backgrounds to protect their communities in unexpected ways. Because sometimes the most important criminal investigations begin when someone knows how to distinguish between real crimes and fake ones designed to steal money through deception.
See you in the next videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe.